Ever wonder what teen culture is like in China and Iran? Well, if you continue watching this video, you will learn just that. First, let's start in China. Many Chinese teens pursue Western culture and they show it through their consumption of Western TV shows, movies, foods, sports, and clothing. PBS reported in 2012 that KFC was the most popular restaurant chain in the country. Although in China, KFC sells Chinese food such as rice pudding and changes the recipes to reflect a Chinese influence, this still shows the Chinese adoption of Western culture. China has a very diverse culture based on socioeconomics. On one hand, you have the Chinese yuppies, as they're called, which make up a portion of Chinese adolescent culture. These teens are from affluent families and were raised in an environment of economic stability. They are brand conscious, trendy, and have plenty of money to spend. Like their affluent U.S. counterparts, yuppies are always plugged into the rest of the world through smartphones and computers. This wealthy portion of Chinese teens is a worldly bunch, often well-traveled and well-experienced. However, the less economically stable Chinese youth realize that their parents are depending on them since they are most likely the only child. Chinese teens are more willing to take responsibility since they are frightened by the current high housing prices and competitiveness to get a job. Chinese teens have no childhood. Once they know the reality, they are on their way to adulthood immediately. The education system is very competitive, and it is a common issue that the majority of higher-class Chinese teens deal with. For a student who fails to get into college, their years of effort dissolve into nothing more than a high school diploma, shaming themselves and their families, as well as crippling their job opportunities. Chinese teens are not satisfied with lots of things in life, especially the government. They are not happy about the freedom of speech restrictions, and they are not happy about not having access to lots of resources online, and so on. They are shaping the new generation of teenagers in China and under a changing government. Iran's teenage culture is another story. Similar to Chinese teens, Iranian youth are among the most politically active in the 57 nations of the Islamic world. As the most resistive segment of Iranian society, the young also represent one of the greatest long-term threats to the current form of theocracy rule. Young activists have influenced the Islamic Republic's political agenda since 1997. In 2010, the government intensified its monitoring of youth activities and issued a list of approved men's hairstyles and women's clothing that affected mainly the young population. Three main problems have arisen in the Iranian youth which have caused frustration and political dissent. They are unemployment, sexual crisis, and drugs. The government generates only about 300,000 of the roughly 1 million jobs needed to annually absorb young people entering the labor market. Unemployment among youth has almost doubled since 1990. Around 22% of the young people between 15 and 29 are unemployed, accounting for 62% of the unemployed population. And for sexual crisis, social interaction among young males and females who are not married is officially prohibited. Although widely ignored in the privacy of homes, rigid restrictions have spawned an underground social culture despite stiff penalties. Drinking or dancing can lead to arrests by the morality police and punishment of 70 lashes. And for drugs, use of narcotics has become a serious problem among youth. In 2015, the Islamic Republic had some 2.2 million illegal drug addicts, a number that is rising annually according to the anti-narcotics officials. The average age for users was in their 20s. Another 130,000 become addicted to drugs annually, according to Iran's police chief. As we can see, these two countries have very different cultures with different influences, such as foreign influences and governing bodies. Thank you for watching.